Welcome everyone to another Tracks on Sundays. I'm Drax the Max, and this is another Raid Shadow Legends video. We are on the Easy Raider 2025 series, a free-to-play series where we try and find the utopia of cruising through the landscape of Teleria as a free-to-play player. Now, first I want to thank HH Gaming for setting this whole thing up. They do this every year. It's a fantastic way for people to be aware of smaller content creators such as myself and push them out forward, right? So a big shout out to them. Also, there will be some giveaways for people who participate, and we have a bunch of sponsors going on here. Raid Shadow Legends themselves, AMG, I believe that's Ash's company. Method, this is some World of Warcraft group. I'm not completely aware. Fateless, obviously from Hell Hades team. HH Gaming themselves as well, and then Min-Maxed. They will be giving out some rewards, some kind of prizes, but you can check that all out on hellhades.com and see what we're all up to. Now, I am one of the 60 other, well, actually, one of the 60 content creators in this challenge. So we are divided into two teams, Team Alice and Team Queen. I am personally Team Alice, and right now I believe we are losing to Team Queen. Yeah, it's 28k to 30k, but I mean, things just started, right? So it's just the kickoff this week, and we have to do this for another 3 months, basically. So anything can happen, right? We've seen some people have some crazy pulls already, like Helicats, Arimas, all kinds of good stuff. And we've also seen some players be able to do crazy stuff with not so great champions. All in all, pretty exciting. There's a lot of content creators here. If you want to check out a new player or new content creator, I'd say you have choices enough right here. Go check them out. And first, I want to stop and thank Ryan Raids. He went out of his way for myself and a ton of other content creators to get the Samsung code to work and get us some juicy rewards to progress our accounts. Go check out his channel and show him some love if you have the time. Thank you. Now, we've been going relatively hard ourselves. I have not slept that much. I've been memeing about it in the content creator chat that we have going on Discord. But yeah, it's pretty hardcore. Like somebody told me, if you're not going to participate in it 100%, don't do it at all. And I was like, you know what? I'm taking you up for that. I'm going to participate it as well as I can, right? And so far it's been going all right, I would say. We are pushing on quite some of the leaderboards, like champion development. We were 4th to have it to our second 6-star. The Great Hall, I'm just kind of hoarding those right now. It's not really that important, I don't think. Faction Wars I've been pushing, as you can see, we're 1st. Gold 1 in Arena. Bronze 2 as the only Bronze 2 player in tag team. I was pretty surprised when I saw that I was the only guy. I didn't really have to do that much to get there, to be honest, but hey, here we are. Current fastest champion, have not been working on that at all. Yeah, this is just campaign stuff, not too important. I believe we did get some points for getting these stars in Nightmare, but I'll get back to that in a second, why I actually even did that in the first place. Doom Tower, I tried to rush to level 40 as fast as I could so that we could get on the board with Doom Tower. So we got on rotation 1 a little bit right before the rotation happened. Now we're back on it normally, or we should be on it at least. Well, I guess it has not updated yet. Maybe in a second it will update, but I do in fact have the... Where is it now? There you go. I do in fact have the level 30 stage done. I don't know why it's not showing here. In fact, I can actually show you guys right now if this run is over. So we did actually, in fact, push that up to 30. So maybe it still needs to register or something. I don't know. I do a lot of my stuff on my phone, so eventually it's not going to show up until, you know, a couple hours later when I finally sit down on my PC and start going through the motions here. Wasn't really quite done yet looking at this. So Demon Lord here as well, hard. I actually did 8.7 million earlier on my phone, but of course the phone does not register that. Again here though, it's kind of like, well, this doesn't really mean that much yet. Nub is not even supposed to be doing brutal yet. He's supposed to be in our clan, and we haven't downed hard yet. So Nub, get your butt over to our side so that we can actually get hard down, and then we can all do brutal together, you know. Get your boys some points on our side. He's in a different clan right now, but I think the idea is supposed to be that we all participate in 2 clans, right, to make things more even. But I'm pretty sure that I could get a 4-key brutal off myself if I would take the time to do so, which would be nice, right, and would be better than doing hard and normal, right? Dragon, looks like we are in 5th spot, but again, a lot of these things I haven't really pushed. I'm just following my missions, just cruising along, doing them, and if I have to do them, I do them, and whatever the dungeon is and whatever the time is or happens to be, that is what you see right here. So Ice Golem, apparently I have not had to do that for a long while, and that's why I'm not on here, but as soon as I have to do Ice Golem for a mission, I'm sure I'll pop back up here, right? So these numbers are always kind of going up and down because everyone's basically doing the same thing. So you'll see my name here and there, but if I'm not on there, don't worry. It doesn't mean I'm not playing. It just means that that is not one of the dungeons or areas that I'm working on right now. So yeah, see, like this was pretty early on too. I think this was like day 2 or 3. Like, haven't touched this in days, so yeah. And some of these I just haven't done at all. Okay, cool. So I'll hop back over to the game real quick. There we go. So right now we're doing this challenge. It's kind of annoying because it's kind of wasting my energy. Luckily, I got some energy from a code today. PP500 gave me 200 energy, some Plarium points, and I think some multi-battles and some silver or something like that. I think this is one of the last codes that I can use. You might have noticed we're at level 43. So we've been pushing quite a lot to get that up as far as possible. 40 for the Doom Tower, 45 we will get our Hydra unlocked, which is also pretty huge. I believe also Siege unlocks at 45. Yes, that's correct. I don't know what happens actually if, like, say I'm the only level 45, if I actually get put into a Siege fight or not. There's a couple of guys following me. They're like, I'm a little ahead in terms of XP or player XP, I guess you could say. But like Hell Hades is at 42. You have Demise here at 42. Grams, of course, also at 42. But there's some people following, and a bunch of 40s and stuff as well. 41. Yeah, they're on my heels, right? But I was just curious what would happen if I would, for instance, hit 45 and Siege would open. That would be kind of weird, huh? Anyway, I also have 10 shards to pull today for you guys. I was kind of hoping it was going to be a 2x Ancients. Unfortunately, it's just another progressive chance thingy, and I mean, I could also just hold on to these shards, but I really do want the extra resources, chickens, or just good champions in general, to do more faction wars, more options for dungeons, more options for Hydra once that opens, because that's going to be pretty soon. We're halfway on to 44, so I assume by tomorrow we will probably be 45. But yeah, this stage of the game, there's not that much to talk about really. You just have to make your 6 stars and build up the champions that are worthy of building up. And you can make mistakes in that area, I think, but when you get an Ugo and you get a Tagore, it's pretty hard to make mistakes there, to be honest. Like, they definitely deserve to be 60'd, and they will soon enough. I'm not sure yet, but I think I might actually bring up Wukong first. Unlike a lot of the other content creators, I will actually be utilizing Wukong over Alice as my damage dealer, as my nuker. Why is that? Well, Wukong has something that Alice does not have, and that is a safety net, right? Once Live Arena opens up, which is, I believe, at level 50, Wukong is just going to be a way better pick, in my opinion, than an unprotected Alice, right? Because let's say we have a speed booster, an Alice, maybe a second speed booster, and, you know, another damage dealer, and a random champion or something like that, right? So 2 speed boosters, 2 damage dealers, one of which is Alice, and then some, maybe like a provoker or something, I don't know, whatever we have to our disposal. Now, let's say they ban your fastest speed booster, maybe one that's pretty obvious, or yeah, I don't know, maybe the only one that has a speed aura or something like that, right? And you'll just lose. You straight up lose the speed battle against your opponent. Well, you're cooked, right? It's over. That fight is more or less over. That's how Live Arena definitely works in the beginning. Most players don't have things like Stone Skin to help them out. They definitely don't have Stone Skin plus Savage or Lethal or anything like that combined in one champion. So Alice will always die, right? If you are not the fastest, Alice will die, and chances are you're not going to be the fastest. The chances of that happening is relatively high. And Wukong fulfills something in that role that you kind of want a nuker to have, which is a safety net, right? You either want just a very tanky, sturdy nuker, like a Terrace, like a King Narcissus, right? Even maybe a Magnar could fulfill that role potentially, but something that can actually take one hit without too many problems. Or you want someone with a safety net, and there's some. You have that lion from Skinwalkers, I forget his name, the Void Legendary that has the unkillable buff come up, like a Skull Crown, basically, right? Those champions that kind of have a safety net. Well, Wukong has that safety net as well, right? He pops back up after a couple of turns, unless he gets block revived. But generally, Wukong can really be a menace to deal with if you don't have that, for instance. So, and the other thing is, he also just immediately brings that 28% speed aura, which on average basically means, hey, all my champions have 28 more speed on average, right? So if you have 100 speed, base speed, that's plus 28 speed right off the bat. Don't have to do anything for that. I'm going to hold on to this shield because I believe I might have to do some kind of other quest with this. If not, I can always sell it afterwards. But okay, equip a champion with 3, blah blah blah. Yeah, I don't even think I actually have this many 5 and 6 star sets completed yet, so this is going to take a while. I'm not going to be doing that right here. So we've actually been pushing the missions reasonably hard, I think. I think I've seen a couple of guys who are somewhat on the same mission as I am. I did make this a little harder on myself by getting into Gold 1. On the other hand, Gold 1 medals are worth more than silver medals, so should be good when there's further missions that require us to unlock things like, let me see here, that's not the one, should be here somewhere. Upgrade 2 affinity bonus to level 4, right? So for those, we need some more of these, basically, and, or what are they called? Arena medals, right? So to do that, being in gold does give us a little advantage, I believe, over silver 4. Speaking of arena, let's see if we can refresh and find some easy targets. This should be an okay one, I think. Sometimes Arbiters can be a little tricky, but this is basically what we're looking for. These one-mans, these saints basically who made it possible for us to actually come in here and do anything meaningful at all. Maybe turn into a chicken? No, nothing. Or not a chicken, a sheep, but... See, here's one of those moments where Wukong's gonna pop back up in a second, and we don't even need to use our revive yet, right? So there he is. We can wait until Kale dies, for instance. This Arbiter has quite some resistance, it looks like. And I am not hitting remotely hard enough yet. Yeah, these are the struggles of the early game, of course, but it's fine. I think we can beat this Arbiter. It might be a little tricky, but... No, I do want to do this. Give everyone a shield. Oh, he goes down again. Come on, Arby. Luckily, it doesn't have Shadow Heal. Oh, there you go. The Savage set on my Wukong did something. Good job. Well, that was a level 100, so that is to be expected. You know, I've heard a lot of people actually lost to Arbiters of 100k power and stuff like that. So there's a lot of these trolls out there that just make like a very tanky Arbiter, and yeah, our accounts can't really deal with that yet, right? Here's a 6-star Ascended Kale, but I hope that with a full team we should be okay. Actually, we almost were not okay, but holy cow, that is crazy. Okay, so here's another example of one of those trolls, right? Those guys that is absolutely wrecking me. Yep. Rip. Well, there you go. Level 58 has a very, very powerful Kale right there. Okay. Yeah, I'm not gonna try that. Well, that'll be it for now, I guess. But we're slowly working on this, so we have 58 more to go here. But after that, we're gonna have to do another 200, I believe. Or no, defeat 100 champions in Classic Arena, which is probably even worse than what we're doing right now because, well, we're only able to do the one-mans. So that's one of the reasons why I've been thinking I might actually take Wukong up a little quicker just to get that attack going, right? Get a little more damage and stuff like that. And he's just a really good nuker in general. We can still utilize our Alice as a, you know, like a warlord basically, right? Putting things on cooldown. Yeah, so what champions do we have in our roster? Well, we just started, so obviously we do not have that much yet. But the highlights, I guess, for me, were here, a Mordecai and a Vogoth. Those are kind of like the best pulls I've had so far. And other than that, I've been utilizing some rares like this Petrifia. This guy right here, this Bowsmith Flannan. Pretty good, actually. Has been helping me a lot in Fire Knight, Spider, even... Where else did I use him? He actually soloed the stages in Faction Wars up to stage 9 or something like that. So pretty decent, I haven't done much with this guy yet. Just tossed some gear on him for Faction Wars. That's it. That's why this weird toxic set is on him. Here, Life Taker, another pretty decent champion for things such as Fire Knight with the heal reduction. A triple hitter here and has a chance of decreasing the target's turn meter by 10%. Third hit has a chance of placing a big boy decreased speed. Haven't booked her yet, but this wouldn't be the worst champion to book either. I have booked this guy, by the way. He's just really good. He has an ally attack. He has decreased speed on the A2, a stun on the A1, and also decreased turn meter on the A1. Has a passive where he can also grant an extra turn if he places this on 3 or more enemies. Just a really good rare, in my opinion. Yeah, if you have him, I would say don't sleep on this guy because he is pretty amazing in my opinion. And yeah, other than that, it's basically just Tagore, more or less, carrying everything right now. This right here, this 40k HP, which is nothing amazing, that's pretty basic, right? This is Well, actually, if I put him in the lead, he has this A2 on a 3-turn cooldown because I booked it out. Attacks all enemies, places a big boy version of speed buff on all allies for 2 turns, and heals all allies by 15% of this champion's max HP. Now, because of this plus 20% heal, I guess, because other than that, I don't really have the masteries for healing or anything like that. I could have gone that route and get that heal even stronger, right? But even like this, the way he is right now, he's healing for 8,100 per heal. So a juicy heal every 3 rounds, I'd say. Keeping the team alive, together with the Ugo, who has a nice heal on the A3. I booked this during the training event, by the way, and everything landed in the A3. This one book I had already done beforehand somewhere. I don't remember when that was, but this was all a couple hours ago during the training event. And I kind of wanted this, of course, because we want 100% decreased defense, but and a 3-turn cooldown, which is really nice. But I'm not going to be mad about this either. Having a 4-turn cooldown, heal and removes all heal reduction and 1 random debuff from all allies. It's decent. It's a small type of cleanse, right? So we'll take that for sure. No, yeah, Mordecai, there's not much to say about him, of course. He has an AoE burn, which is going to be good for Spider, was going to be good for Hydra, especially because it places it. So even if there would, for some reason, with all these block buff champions, if there would be the poison cloud going on for some reason still, it doesn't matter. Mordecai can still place that if he has enough accuracy to land it. Vogoth, just a nuisance in arena, but also has it provoke, and is just a nice tanky champion in general. I have not done too much with him yet, but he will come in handy pretty soon, I'm sure. So yeah, that's basically it, what we have to work with right now. Now let's pull some shards real quick, and then maybe we can actually add some cool stuff to our roster. Now, I already looked at this earlier. I think there's pretty much only, for us at least, only one good epic to choose from, which is this one. Why is that? Well, this champion right here has a attacks all enemies 2 times. Each hit has a, when booked, 65% chance of placing a freeze debuff for 1 turn. I mean, this is really good for any area of the game where there are mobs, where there are waves where you need to get through, but also specifically for Spider, of course. Add Mordecai to that, and you more or less have a Spider 20 team, and we would cruise through that normally. So, especially for Spider, I want him, but also just all other areas of the game. This is a fantastic champion. Also has a speed buff on all allies, fills turn meters by 15% on a 3-turn cooldown, and then on the A1, triple hitter, and has a 35% chance of placing a freeze debuff for 1 turn, so more freezes even, and can fill the turn meter of this champion by 5% for each freeze buff debuff he places. So amazing champion, amazing epic for sure. Now here it's a little different. I don't know how good this guy is since he's been upgraded. I have him on my main account, but I haven't really given him a spin yet since he has been upgraded, so not sure what to think about him there. I have played enough with the other champions, though, and I'm a little divided here because, well, Kimmy is probably not going to be it, although I think Kimmy is the better option for Hydra. I use a Kimmy on my own Nightmare Hydra team on my main account, and she's fantastic there. But other than that, I think probably the other champions have a little edge over her. Theodore mostly has the edge because he can solo a lot of dungeons. He can solo a lot of 25 dungeons even. And he doesn't even need that crazy of gear to do so, which makes him probably the top 2 contenders for myself when I'm looking at this. It's definitely between Theodore, Kymar, or Armands. Now, I gotta be honest, Armands I don't really use in PvE that often on my main account because, well, when he came out, I more or less had all the teams already figured out and solved, right? I have a lot of champions on that account. A lot of them are built. And I do use Armand's in Arena, obviously, because he's a menace in Arena. And he is by far the best champion here for Arena. But Kaimar is pretty close, I would say, and so is Lady Kimmy, right? So Kaimar is probably the one that falls out of the boat, which is very weird to say, but it doesn't mean he's a bad champion. He has a reset, which is very unique. There's only a couple of champions who have that in the entire game. But I think I'm leaning towards Armand's here. Even though having a solo farmer in Theodore would be amazing, there are some other options that you can use to solo farm dungeons. You don't necessarily need a Theodore for that. Theodore just makes it possible almost from the moment that I pull him right now, actually, right? That's the difference. If I pull him right now, by next week, he'll be doing dungeons and stage 20 by himself and getting food involved with that, which for new accounts is quite the boost, right? But on the other hand, an Armand's will make Arena more enjoyable, which is also problematic at the moment, right? And especially once we get into live Arena, having the option to have a Armand's and a Monkey King, that's more or less the team by itself already, and the rest are just kind of peons wandering about. So I think I'm gonna do this. I'm not 100% sure if this is correct or no, but yeah, this is a tough one, man. Like, this is a good champion. This one, not too sure about him, but probably still decent. And yeah, Armand's is obviously really good as well. Tagore here is also amazing, but we have him already, and this one I think just has like a revive or something. Well, it has a decreased attack on the A1, I guess. Speed boost. I think that's the whole idea of this summoning eventually, right? Revives a dead ally. Faction Crips. Yeah, she's alright, but definitely would like this guy much, much better. Alright, so these are going to be the two champions we try to get at least. And yeah, anything else that we can use for the account. And otherwise, just a bunch of food, which we also need, of course. There's a Spirit Host. Already had to feed one of her, so I think I will hold on to this one, since that's a decent rare, actually. Wretch, we do not need a Wretch. We have some AoE burns already, so that's A-okay. Ooh, this is a reviver for the Skinwalkers, I believe. Let's see here. Has a small version of the increased defense on all allies and continuous heal, the big boy version, but only for 1 turn, but still on a 4-turn cooldown. Not too shabby. And then revives an ally with 30% HP and 30% turn meter. That's not that much. Places a 15% continuous heal buff on the revived ally for 1 turn. It's on a 4-turn cooldown. It is a revive. It's not the best revive, though. They do say for Faction Wars he's okay. So, I mean, maybe we'll hold on to him. We'll see if we need food or no. We have a lot of revivers as it is. So this would specifically just be for the Faction Wars, I think, which right now I'm not that worried about, to be honest. I'm more worried about trying to fix our dungeon teams and arena teams and stuff like that, right? So we'll see, though. All right, no epics yet, only rare so far. Now here's another decent champion for Fire Knight, but I think I'm kind of settled for Fire Knight, to be honest. Attacks 3 times at random. Each hit has a 50% chance of placing sleep debuff for 1 turn. This might be Sand Devil material, though. That's a pretty high chance of putting someone to sleep. Attacks 1 enemy, has a 100% chance of decreasing the target's turn meter by 50%. Fills this champion's turn meter equal to the amount the target loses. So isn't that just basically steal turn meter? Pretty much, right? Yeah. I think that just means it steals a turn meter. On a 4-turn cooldown, but I guess these are both pretty good for Fire Knight. And then an AoE has a 100% chance of placing the 50% heal reduction debuff for 1 turn. Again, for Fire Knight, pretty useful, of course. Faction Crips attack She's a decent champion. I don't know if I'm going to use her instead of what I have right now, but maybe, because right now I'm on the Force Fire Knight, so that's Fire Knight 13 is Force, and all my champions are Magic Affinity, and that's kind of problematic right now, right? So almost all of them are Magic Affinity. Another Life Taker, that's actually the third one I've pulled so far, but I'm not going to keep more than one, I don't think. I don't really see the reason to. And Epic! And it is? Oh, man. This is a bummer. This is absolutely a bummer. Attacks an enemy 2 times, places a big boy version of increased attack buff on this champion if it kills an enemy. Attacks all enemies, has a 75% chance of placing the big boy version of decreased attack debuff. I mean, that's alright. I don't think I have that yet, so maybe I could use that somewhere. And then Sword of Loss, attacks one enemy, has a 75% chance of placing a block buffs debuff and a block active skills debuff for 2 turns. This attack is always critical. So yeah, so who cares? And revives one random ally with 50% HP every time this champion kills an enemy. Oh. Yeah, I don't know. Usually she will probably be the one who wants to be revived, so I don't really see where this is going to be any good. I feel like this actually might be another chicken for us, to be honest. It does have attack down AoE, but I'm not really sure where we want that or need that, and that's literally the only thing of interest for me when I see this. The rest is kind of whatever, right? Yeah. Not too great, guys. Not too great. Our pulls have been pretty horrible so far. Red Cloak Teno. Attacks an enemy 2 times. Each hit has a... What is that? 45. 50% chance to steal 5% of the target's turn meter. That's not great. AoE on a 3-turn cooldown before attacking places increased attack or accuracy buff on all allies. That's decent. Also has a 50% chance of decreasing the turn meters of all enemies by 15%. Not too great. It's a 3-turn cooldown, so it does occur quite often, I guess, but I mean, yeah, turn meter manipulator, but not that great, I don't think. Tripwire removes one random buff from each enemy. Then has a 75% chance of placing decreased speed buff on all enemies for 2 turns. Huh. So the cool thing about this, I guess, is it removes and it places, so it doesn't attack. So this means it's affinity friendly, basically. You can also use this on the, or through, rather, the Poison Cloud from Hydra. But still, I just think this is probably going to be another chicken for us. Yeah, these 10 shards, I had a little bit more hope that something good would pop out. Grave Chill Killer is pretty decent. Attacks one enemy, has a 50% chance of placing the big boy version of poison for 1 turn. Attacks one enemy, has a 100% chance of placing 30% decreased defense debuff for 2 turns, has a 100% chance of placing the big boy version if the target is under a poison debuff. So you pair her with another poisoner, and normally this will always be the big boy version of decreased defense, basically. And then attacks one enemy 2 times. Each hit places a small poison debuff for 2 turns, places a big version of the poison debuff instead if the target is under a poison sensitivity debuff. People like to put Grave Chill Killer in together with Frozen Banshee. Without Frozen Banshee or the poison sensitivity, I think she's a lot worse. We do have Petrifia ourselves, so could still be an option, but I gotta say that poison sensitivity doesn't really pop up that often. It's not that high of a percentage, I don't think, so we'll see about that. One more shard here, one more shard and a dream. What can we get? It's another rare, unfortunately, and it is a Slyther Brute. This is part of the Rosin fusion, I believe. Attacks one enemy has a 50% chance of placing Big Boy decreased speed. That's decent. That's not too bad. Attacks one enemy, steals one random buff from them. That's not great. Attacks one enemy, decreases the target's turn meter equal to the amount of buffs on the target. Also pretty irrelevant, I would say. So this is definitely just food for now. Yeah, that was not great, and we continue to struggle to find anything, you know, noteworthy, I'd say. I mean, I can't be too mad about pulling a Mordecai and pulling a Fogoth. These are definitely decent champions, and Mordecai will help us a ton in Spider, of course, so it's not all too bad, really, but yeah, we were hoping for a little bit more there. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me on this first Easy Riders episode. This will be one of a few episodes in the series. This won't be a super long series because we're only going for 3 months, and I'm not completely sure if I will be uploading a short episode like this every week, because I will be streaming every week. So if you want to keep up to date immediately, I'd say check out the streams every weekend, every Saturday night or Sunday morning if you live in Australia. But yeah, hope you guys have a nice rest of your week, and I'll catch you guys cruising somewhere through Teleria. Peace.